Hey, Dragon Slayers. I'm probably about 14 or 15-ish hours into my fast. It's 86. I was about 245 on the scale this morning. Normally I wouldn't fast today, or normally I would fast today, but I'm going to go ahead and eat social engagements, right? Just keep it low carb. That's the great thing about fasting. It's flexible. Even if you can't fast on a certain day that you plan to, just keep your carbs low. You'll be fine. So today's video is all about how insulin resistance is often the root cause of skin tags, as well as other skin conditions, but I'm going to focus on skin tags today. So in the description below, I've linked a video from Dr. Barry who talks about this in more detail, as well as a research paper that I'm going to be reading from that shows some of these correlations and connections. So, worldwide, there are more than 1.9 billion adults who are overweight, and around 600 million people suffer from obesity. Similarly, 382 million individuals live with diabetes, and around 40 to 50% of the global population is labeled as high risk for prediabetes. The impact of these two chronic conditions relies not only on the burden of illness per se, associated with increased morbidity and mortality, but also on their increased costs, burden of treatment, and decreased health related quality of life. For this review, a comprehensive search in several databases, including PubMed, MEDLINE, Ovid EMBASE, Web of Science, and Scopus, was conducted. In both diabetes and obesity, genetic and epigenetic, 70 to 80% of the patients with obesity and virtually every patient with type 2 diabetes had insulin resistance, which we already understand that link. Insulin resistance is a well known pathophysiological factor in the development of type 2 diabetes. Characteristically, it appears years before it is diagnosed. So insulin resistance comes first, and I've talked about that before, and it's like when the dam breaks, that's when you get diabetes. So there's insulin resistance first, the dam begins to break, that's prediabetes, and then the dam is broken, that's diabetes. So the gold standard for insulin resistance diagnosis is the euglycometic insulin clamp. It is a complex, invasive, costly, and hence unfeasible to test for impairment in clinical practices. Likewise, laboratory measures are derived from indices like homeostasis model assessment of insulin resistance, HOMA-IR, are indirect, imprecise, and not accurate for reproducible results. So they're just saying that basically the methods that we use for testing insulin resistance are either way too technical, way too invasive, way too costly, or not accurate enough. So they say, however, skin manifestations of insulin resistance, skin tags being one example, they offer a reliable, straightforward, and real time way to detect insulin resistance. The objective of this review is to aid clinicians in recognizing skin manifestations of insulin resistance. Diagnosing these skin manifestations accurately may cascade positively in patients' health by triggering an adequate metabolic evaluation, a timely treatment, or referral, with the ultimate objective of decreasing diabetes and obesity burden and improving the health and quality and care for these patients. So they go on to talk about how acro, it's the scientific name for skin tags. It is acro. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but yeah, the word's there. It's a benign condition. It talks about how people before 30 and it's prevalent, and then it's extremely prevalent in people after 40, and that 37% of people after 40 have skin tags or some form of skin tags. Then it also talks about how in 1967 it was observed that 72% of people that had skin tags also had type 2 diabetes. And the conclusion was that insulin resistance is the hallmark biochemical feature in both obesity and diabetes. And it talks about skin manifestations of insulin resistance are more reliable and you can detect them earlier than any other method. So there you go, guys. That's what I have for you today. And remember that together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon, as well as all insulin resistance related skin conditions.